Involuntary muscles that do not contain striations are called, is it A, skeletal muscle, B, cardiac muscle, C, smooth muscle, D, autonomic muscle, or E, cerebral muscle? Before we try to figure out what the correct response is, let's take a look at some of these answer choices. We have skeletal muscle, we know that's a correct type of muscle. B, cardiac muscle, that's a real type of muscle. C, smooth muscle is also a type of real muscle. What is autonomic muscle? Autonomic means something that's involuntary, but we do not distinguish any one type of muscle inside the body as autonomic muscle. Even though the question asks for involuntary muscles that do not contain striations, we do not classify muscles by themselves as autonomic. We generally reserve the word autonomic for the nervous system and not the muscular system, so we can remove or eliminate choice D. Choice E says cerebral muscle. Cerebral means the brain, so or relating to the cerebrum or the brain. Therefore, it means that cerebral muscle would be found in the brain. There is no muscle in the brain, only fatty tissue and lots of proteins, so we can eliminate choice E. This leaves us with only choices A, B, and C. So now we need to identify a type of involuntary muscle that does not contain striations. Notice that we're asked to identify involuntary muscle. Involuntary means that you do not have at-will control over the muscle. The skeletal muscles, we do have at-will control over the skeletal muscles, so we can actually eliminate choice A, which is skeletal muscle. So now we take a look. We have the skeletal muscle, the smooth muscle, and the cardiac muscle. Striations are lines. They appear as lines in the muscle, and they're formed by the bands inside of the muscle that are there to help the muscle slide past each muscle cell slide past the others during muscle contraction. So when we take a look at the skeletal muscle, you can see the lines, but we've already eliminated skeletal muscle because we're able to control it. Therefore, we have smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. Now, the smooth muscle cells are found, for instance, in the linings of the blood vessels. We do not have any control of those muscles, so they are indeed involuntary. Similarly, cardiac muscle is only found in the heart, and we do not control the muscles of the heart, so it's also voluntary. However, when you look at the structure or the surface of the cardiac muscle, you can see that there are striations. They're not as defined as they are in the skeletal muscle. However, you can see that they are there. There are lines, for instance, here, and this tells us that the cardiac muscle does contain striations. On the contrary, the smooth muscles do not have striations. You can see that their cells are much more randomly dissociated. So if we return to our question, we can now select the correct response. So the question asked us to identify a type of involuntary muscle that does not contain striations. Based on those diagrams and the choices we've already eliminated, the correct response to the question is C. Smooth muscle are involuntary muscles that do not contain striations. And the correct response again is C.